This is a Cobb XLE bypass blow-off valve, a hybrid valve, and had some problems with it leaking initially. Contacted Cobb. They sent me a revised O-ring. It's basically a larger O-ring to replace the small one that was on it. These are the small ones. And they sent me a flange as well. The flange looks the same. You can see the groove in here that's cut for the O-ring. The revised flange looks, the groove looks about the same. So put the oversized O-ring in here and torque the flange down. They sent me an extra cap screw as well, so I can get a better torque around the radius of this flange here. And it looks like the problem now is that it's actually cocked a little bit towards the back. So it's cocked up this way a little bit, and because of that, I don't know if you can tell, but around the valve itself, it looks like it's sealed up pretty good on the side of the radius of the flange that has the most cap screws, and then the side where it's missing two, I can't really see, but there's a little bit of a gap in there, so I suspect that it's going to leak from the valve now, where before it actually sealed up really well from the valve. So what I'm going to do is pour some soapy water into this cavity here. And wait a second and see if it starts to leak. And you can also see on the flange, you can see the gap between the flange and the body on the side of the flange radius that is missing the cap screws. And then you look on the other side and there's about no gap on that side, so obviously the flange is cocked a little bit with the oversized O-ring. It looks like it's holding so far. Yeah, I can see a little bit of fluid starting to puddle up there at the tip of the nozzle, and that indicates that the valve is leaking with no pressure applied to the valve there. Yeah, it's quite a bit of fluid puddling up inside there. So it's definitely leaking still, and don't really see a point in testing it on the car, because obviously that valve is going to leak pretty bad with it cocked. With the flange cocked, now the mating surface on that valve is also cocked on its valve seat that's built into the flange, so it's going to leak from the valve pretty bad now. And yep. See here, I can move the bypass valve around so you can get a little better idea of the gap that's caused with the by installing the oversized O-ring. You can see on that side it's pretty gappy. Turn it towards the back side, the gap kind of goes away. And you can see the gap on the body. It's pretty tight, pretty flush on this side, the flange to the body. You get to the back side there and you can see a little bit of a gap compared to the back side where the cap screws are securing the flange to the body.